TomoNews presents Space Stations.
China to launch new space lab this year. China plans to launch its second space laboratory into outer space this year, which is part of its strategy to create a manned space station that is expected to be in service around 2022. China's second space laboratory, Tiangong-2, will be attached to two separate labs. Two astronauts will be sent to the space station by Shenzhou-11 spacecraft. Their mission is expected to last for 30 days, doubling the longest period Chinese astronauts have previously spent in space. China will launch the country's first cargo spaceship, Tiangong-1, which aims to supply propellants for Tiangong-2 and food and drinks for the astronaut. Apart from conducting science experiments, the main mission for the space station is to practice key technologies such as on-orbit propellant resupply, which is essential in order to ensure the permanent operation of the space station. China's first space laboratory, Tiangong-1, was launched in 2011 and has been in good working condition ever since.
China says Tiangong-1 will fall to Earth next year. China says its first space lab, Tiangong-1, will likely fall back to Earth in the second half of 2017, which seems to confirm speculation that it has already lost control of the spacecraft. China's Tiangong-1 spacecraft is currently orbiting Earth at an altitude of 370 kilometers, which is about 30 kilometers lower than the orbit of the International Space Station. Tiangong-1 stopped sending data back to Earth in March this year. Chinese authorities estimate the spacecraft will fall back to the Earth in the second half of 2017, with most of its parts burning up during re-entry. According to Xinhua News, China will continue to monitor Tiangong-1, send out warnings for possible collisions with objects, and report the forecast of its falling internationally if necessary.
Calm down, people. An out-of-control space station is set to fall to Earth within a few weeks, but there's really no cause for panic, and here's why. China's Tiangong-1 space station has been orbiting uncontrolled since 2016 and has sped up its descent towards Earth in recent months. Re-entry is estimated to occur between March 29th and April 9th, with the impact point anywhere between 43 degrees north and 43 degrees south latitudes. The 9.4-ton space station is expected to burn up as it enters the atmosphere and may be visible from Earth as a bright streak in the sky. Experts say a small amount of debris may survive re-entry and fall to Earth, but the probability of it hitting anyone and causing harm is extremely low. To date, only one person has ever been struck by falling space debris, and she wasn't even injured. So this time the odds are ever in your favor. Is the ISS about to go commercial? Heads up, investors, the International Space Station might soon be up for grabs. Trump is planning to cut off funding to the ISS after 2024 and wants to instead turn it over to the private sector. In his vision of events, the space station would be a commercially run venture. NASA won't be managing, and it will be just another client. Of course, at the moment, the president doesn't have anything specific in mind, but he will be requesting $150 million in funding to hammer out the plan. For all we know, it could be goodbye science experiments and hello space hotels. Or not, because, man, that's an expensive ride. If the US does give up its space outpost, there's no doubt Russia and China are going to swoop in to lead the space race. Apart from Trump and NASA's new administrator, though, no one else seems on board with this privatization mission. Even Ted Cruz called the idea extremely stupid. Here's hoping someone, everyone, can stop this madness.
SpaceX's Dragon V2 to be used as space taxi for NASA astronauts. SpaceX founder Elon Musk unveiled the Dragon V2, the company's first manned spacecraft, at SpaceX's headquarters in California on Thursday. The Dragon V2 looks similar to its predecessor, the Dragon, but is larger and more streamlined. It will be able to carry up to 7 people into space. The goal is to send NASA astronauts to the International Space Station, weaning the United States of its reliance on Russian Soyuz spacecrafts to fly astronauts to the station. Built into the side walls, the upgraded engines of the Dragon V2 can produce up to 16,000 pounds of thrust. The chamber is 3D printed with Iconel, a specialized alloy with a high resistance to heat. The space capsule is designed to land on any location on Earth with precision, making it reusable for future launches. If successful, the Dragon V2 will bring down the cost of space rides significantly. Its first launch with test pilots on board could happen as soon as 2016.
NASA wants a space station near the moon. A moon station? Yeah, why not? NASA says it plans to build a station for astronauts orbiting the moon. The project is called the Lunar Orbital Platform Gateway. NASA's 2019 fiscal year budget request calls for launching the first element, the Power and Propulsion Module, into space in 2022. 2 additional launches by 2025 to add habitation, logistics, and airlock functions would complete the station. The gateway would be put in a near rectilinear halo orbit, an orbit in cislunar space that could be used as a staging area for future missions. The platform's position would let astronauts control telerobots on the moon's surface that could be used to explore craters as well as carry out other experiments. Maybe we should try a moon landing. That's never been done before.
We're going back to the moon. Aerospace companies United Launch Alliance and Bigelow Aerospace are collaborating to put a space station in orbit around the moon. The Lunar Depot plan is aimed at placing a Bigelow B-330 inflatable habitat in low lunar orbit by the end of 2022. ULA's Vulcan rocket will launch the B-330 into lower Earth orbit, where it will stay for about a year. While there, the habitat will receive supplies and get crew members rotated every few months. 2 more Vulcan rockets will then be launched and their upper stages left in orbit. After propellant from one stage is transferred to the other, the fully fueled stage will attach the B-330 and propel it to its final position orbiting the moon. The companies claim the habitat can serve both as a platform for lunar business development and a location for NASA to conduct exploration and astronaut training missions.
This is how Russia's robot spacecraft delivers supplies to the ISS. This Russian spacecraft may look like your run-of-the-mill satellite, but it actually plays a critical role in delivering supplies to the International Space Station. Russia's Progress spacecraft is loaded onto a Soyuz rocket and launched from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. After detaching the rocket, the spacecraft flies on an automated 2-day route toward the International Space Station. Progress then docks with the ISS, where food and scientific equipment are unloaded. After the robot resupply ship has fulfilled its mission, it will be deorbited and is then expected to sink somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. The spacecraft is said to remain docked with the ISS until December this year.
International Space Station dodges space debris. The International Space Station shifted its route to avoid colliding with an incoming piece of space junk, NASA officials said on Monday. The maneuver was performed to steer clear of a large piece of debris among the tens of millions orbiting the Earth. The space station can only sustain collisions with fragments below 1 centimeter in diameter. To dodge a large fragment broken from a 1979 Russian weather satellite, the space station fired its onboard thrusters, raising its orbit by 1 kilometer. Mission Control says that the position change would not affect a Kazakhstan launch scheduled for next week. An Antares rocket carrying an unmanned Cygnus capsule lifted off from NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia on Wednesday. The 13-story Antares booster, developed by Orbital Sciences Corporation, placed the Cygnus capsule into orbit about 170 miles above Earth. The spacecraft then unfurled its solar panels. Over the next 4 days, it will practice maneuvering and communicating with the International Space Station. On Sunday, the Cygnus will maneuver to within 30 feet of the station, where astronauts will use a robotic arm to dock the spacecraft to a berthing point. The Cygnus will remain docked until October 22nd, when it will be filled with trash from the station and burn up on re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere.